Welcome to another Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're looking at something that is literally going to redefine how we work. We're breaking down the exact blueprints for transforming yourself from a manual service provider into what we call a systems architect. We're talking about building a sovereign ecosystem, basically an entirely autonomous AI workforce that runs your operations, spots revenue leaks, and, get this, even self-heals when things go wrong. If you're tired of just trading your time for money, well, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, let's dive into this.
Here's our master architecture blueprint for today. It's going to take us from basic setups all the way to elite investor-grade AI ecosystems. We're covering the AI speed reality, building your agent workforce, PhD-level prompt engineering, the self-healing loop, and finally, scaling the sovereign ecosystem.
All right, Section 1, the AI speed reality, overcoming the human bottleneck.
So, the fundamental limit to literally any business you build is human fatigue, right? We sleep, we get tired, we make mistakes. Well, AI is the ultimate cure for that. I love this analogy because it takes a really complex concept, human-in-the-loop, or HITL architecture, and breaks it down so perfectly that a fifth grader could understand it. Imagine you build custom Lego castles. The old manual way? That means reading the manual, finding every single piece, and snapping them together yourself. It takes a full week, and you're just totally exhausted by the end. But take a look at the right side. The new way uses your AI framework. Lightning-fast robots build 99% of that castle in like 5 minutes. And your only job, as the human in the loop, is to spend 2 minutes fixing a crooked tower and maybe snapping the flag on top. Suddenly, you're building 50 castles a week without even breaking a sweat.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the drop in human time required. Look at market research, going from 15 hours to just 10 minutes. That is 90 times faster. Or drafting custom proposals, dropping from 3 hours down to a mere 5 minutes. These massive time savings on your back-end operations, they give you the ultimate business superpower, which is bandwidth. You literally get your time back.
But here is a stark reality check we have to acknowledge. Yes, your operational speed multiplies by 10 to 100x, just like we saw. But your revenue speed, that's only going to multiply by maybe 2 to 5x. Why? Because while AI accelerates the back-end work phenomenally, the market still moves at human speed. AI can't force a client to sign a contract instantly. It can't make a prospect pull out their credit card faster than human psychology allows, at least not yet. So remember, we're speeding up the delivery, not the human being buying it.
Moving right along, Section 2, building your agent workforce, deploying the core management board.
So, meet your multi-agent swarm. You don't just have one chatbot here, you have a highly specialized 4-agent board. First up is the miner, or scout, whose job is extracting data to find revenue leaks for clients. Next, we have the architect, analyzing that raw data to create a nice, clean, 3-tier sellable package. Then the taskmaster steps in, converting those plans into an executable 24-hour checklist. And finally, the closer engineers the high-ticket sales emails and handles quality optimization. This framework doesn't just do little tasks, it effectively runs the entire back end of your agency.
And because your underlying orchestrator framework is totally dialed in with those 4 core agents, you can scale horizontally with ease. Just look at the diversity here. You can instantly swap out instructions to run agentic SEO audits, benchmarking competitors, or switch over to construction estimating to prove a 12% material waste factor. You could even build a public safety web ecosystem, connecting an ear in the sky to a smart boss. The agents themselves stay the same. You just change their instructions to conquer incredibly diverse industries. It's a real game changer.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, PhD-level prompt engineering, next-level architecture.
So, this brings us to the million-dollar question. What exactly turns a basic chatbot into a true cognitive workflow? I mean, what separates the hobbyist just typing questions into a web browser from the architects building real enterprise systems? Well, it's the transition from simple, static instructions into the engineering of logic gates, memory structures, and dynamic agentic loops.
At this PhD level, we use a concept called prompt as code. It's exactly what it sounds like. Using language as the literal code to architect system flowcharts, write Python functions, and engineer self-validation tests. You're leveraging meta-prompting and chain-of-thought structures. So you weren't just asking the AI to write an email anymore. No, you are asking the AI to architect a system, then write the code for that system, and then engineer the tests to validate its own code. You are literally talking applications into existence.
Here is the exact standard operating procedure to execute prompt as code. Step 1.
The vision prompt. You describe the end state in hyper-vivid detail. Step 2. The logic mapping. You ask the AI to map the logic and draft the system architecture. Step 3. Recursive refinement. You command the AI to write the actual Python functions based on that architecture. And step 4. The loop, where you use the agent to write validation tests for its own code. Following these exact steps elevates you from just a simple prompt writer to a true system architect.
Next up, Section 4. The self-healing loop, the autopilot secret.
This brings us to the absolute holy grail of system architecture, systems that learn and repair themselves without any human intervention. So the crucial point is understanding the observer pattern. This is the heartbeat of the invisible agency. It's a feedback-driven architecture where you introduce an observer agent whose sole job is to watch the system. It continuously compares real-time performance metrics against the initial intent, and if there's a gap, it automatically triggers a reprompting cycle to adapt and improve.
Visually, that self-healing loop looks like this. Step 1. Input. You feed the URL or transcript into the swarm. Step 2. Analyze. The observer agent scrapes the retention graphs or transcripts. Step 3. Detect. It identifies specific drop-off points or failed deal stages. Step 4 is where the magic happens. Repair. It automatically writes a patch note in JSON format. And finally, Step 5. Redeploy. It updates the system prompts so the error never repeats. Through online low-rank adaptation, or LoRA, wait updates, the AI's behavior actually adapts on the fly.
To ground that highly technical architecture in a practical reality, take a look at this simple learning rule. You literally instruct the system, if a project fails to generate a lead in 7 days, pause the process, analyze the outreach email, generate 3 variations, and test them next week. It is incredibly powerful, yet the logic is simple enough that a 5th grader could understand it. The machine governs itself.
All right, final section, Section 5. Scaling the sovereign ecosystem. Reaching empire governance.
So how do you package all this self-healing tech into a multi-tiered revenue engine like today? Well, we prove the concept with aggressive execution. This 24-hour revenue blueprint proves that no-code arbitrage can generate immediate cash flow. In hours 0 to 4, you build a minimal MVP using visual sequence tools like Make.com and Google Sheets. By hour 8, you've done your target selection and scraped high-ticket leads with low reviews. By hour 12, you're sending a frictionless offer via 90-second asynchronous Loom video. And by hour 24, you've closed the deal, captured the Stripe payment, and deployed. It's fast, sure it's a bit manual at first, but it is highly profitable. But if you want to scale beyond that frantic 24-hour sprint, you need real infrastructure. You have to secure a direct hire authority, basically an elite senior AI integration specialist. And you definitely don't hire them through a basic interview. No way. You give them a 24-hour microswarm challenge to prove they can actually build your stateful, air-gapped infrastructure.
Now you might be wondering, how do you fund this elite talent? Through your first major enterprise contract. By pitching mid-market tech firms a 30-day risk mitigation proof of concept, you can demand $15,000 up front. You isolate their top systemic leak vectors, prove your architecture can fix it, and use that immediate capital to fund your entire developer ecosystem.
And this slide brilliantly illustrates how you create an escalating royalty contract with your developer. You tie their wealth directly to your system's performance. When the system hits $20,000 a week in gross revenue, they make $2,000 a week on that initial swarm. As you scale to a full 50 passive turnkey ecosystem generating $100,000 a week, their payout scales right along with it to $10,000 a week. You are aligning incentives perfectly for massive, stable growth.
Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder today. We've seen the blueprint. We've seen how AI completely removes the human bottleneck, how self-healing loops guarantee performance, and how you scale with aligned talent. So the question is, are you still going to manually snap the Lego pieces together, burning yourself out as a service provider? Or are you finally ready to govern the machine and become a sovereign architect? Think about that. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously can't wait to see what you build.